What's good for viewers? I'm your host Simon. Today we're back with a reaction. Let's get Today we're going to be reacting to some true horror stories animated uploaded by YT Entertainment. I have four. I have this first one that we're going to watch, True Kidnapping Horror Story Animated, and then I have this other compilation that's like 9 minutes that has three in it. Surprisingly, that doesn't even make any sense. Anyway, I'm gonna stop wasting our time and we're gonna jump in this like some butt cheeks. Let's get into it. Is my sound on? Oh yeah, it's on, okay.
When I was 23, my boyfriend and I broke up, so I was in the process of moving away from my hometown to Houston. I just wanted to start over somewhere new. It was about 3 a.m. and I was driving through a small town in Texas on my way to Houston when I decided to stop for gas. It was pretty empty, but the gas station was open. As I was filling up, looking at my phone, I saw a truck pull up to the pump on the other side of me. I wasn't paying any attention until I put my phone in my pocket to put the nozzle back, and I saw a man just staring at me. I smiled at him, turning to put the gas cap back on, when I saw 4 more men. 2 more.
How do you not hear that, nigga? How do you not hear that? You don't hear that they're walking? Nah, you can't even use your phone as an excuse. You just might be deaf at that point. How do you not hear the first dude walking up to you, like walking in front of you, and then the 4 other niggas walking what looks to be the other side of the car? You just deaf at that point. There's no one
on either side. I thought that was weird, but I just wanted to get in my car and go.
Yeah, you could.
As I went to pull the handle on my door, they attacked me. I was screaming and kicking and fighting as hard as I could, but I wasn't strong enough. 2 of them pulled me into the back seat of the truck while 2 of them pushed me in. I ended up draped over their laps. I was still trying to get free, but it was hard to move with their weight holding me down. I started to cry. I have never felt so weak in my life. I started scratching one man, thinking if they kill me, his DNA will be under my nails. They pulled up to a motel and carried me inside of a room. I was screaming again, and the oldest looking one started hitting me, telling me to be quiet. One of them said if I was good, they wouldn't hurt me. They held me down on one of the beds and tied my hands and feet together with a belt and some kind of thin string, like a shoelace. I was panicking and still crying, just telling them to let me go. I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't tell anyone.
Why he posted up like that?
They started talking to each other in another language, one I couldn't recognize. Looking around the room, I saw bags and beer cans, lots of beer cans.
Okay, my freaking thing stopped recording for some reason. We backed up.
In this one room with 2 beds for a while. I don't really want to get into what they did to me, but at some point, one of the men said they needed more beer. They decided the smallest one was going to stay in the room with me.
That nigga looked 12.
So after the other 4 left, it was just me and the man who looked to be around my age.
Man.
I remember thinking I could probably beat him up if I get loose. I asked him if I could use the bathroom. And when he untied me, I bolted for the door.
Let's go.
I swung the door open and he grabbed my arm. I yelled, "Get off me." And he let go, eyes wide. I ran down the street, no clothes on, and jumped in front of the first car I saw. It was a confused elderly man. He rolled down his window
out the street
and yelled, "What are you doing?" Like I was ruining his morning or something. I told him I needed help and that I was kidnapped. He drove me to the police station where I was given scrubs and could file a report. They ended up saying I needed to go to the hospital for an examination, so they could record any evidence that the man may have left on me. I just wanted to shower and go home, honestly. I just wanted to talk to my mom. They found the men the same day. It turns out they were all brothers. They didn't say what they planned on doing with me after, or why they did it in the first place. They claimed to be all blackout drunk at the time. I ended up moving to the other side of the country. And even though I know they're still in prison, I get nightmares about what happened. I don't use my phone at all in public anymore. And my current boyfriend says I'm too paranoid. But I have to be, right? I never want to feel that weak again in my life.
hopefully I can record this video, because this shit it's happened like twice now. So I'm gonna just not talk and we're gonna get into it. Hopefully I don't pause it either.
This is not my story, but my grandfather's. This incident happened in Tijuana, Mexico, in the late 70s, when my grandfather was in his late teens.
Yeah.
One evening, he decided to go to the movies alone. He arrived at the theater, bought his ticket, and sat down in the theater. While he was watching the movie,
damn it,
for some
it's
reason,
fucking
he
cold and
decided
shit.
to look around. That's when he noticed this woman sitting nearby. They looked at each other for a moment, and the woman walked over and sat down next to my grandfather. They started holding hands, and then, drawn by the strange atmosphere, they started kissing.
You don't even know.
Meanwhile, he noticed that she was unnaturally cold. He gave her his jacket as a friendly gesture,
She's still
and
gonna be
soon
cold.
the movie was over. They were planning to walk across the street to a bar, but she said that she needed to use the bathroom. She told him, just wait outside the bathroom. She gave him
I have to delete this quote off my fucking phone.
his jacket back and gave him a ring, saying that she was actually homeless. My grandfather was a little taken aback, but he didn't
How you
think
get
much
into
of it
here?
and decided to wait outside the bathroom as she had said. But 5 minutes passed, and she still hadn't come out of the bathroom. My grandfather watched all the other women come out of the bathroom except for that woman. And after 10 minutes, she still hadn't
It's a
come out.
ghost.
He went to the manager, asked if he had seen anyone like that woman in the bathroom. The manager told my grandfather that he had never seen anyone like that. My grandfather insisted that the manager go and check.
That's just, he saw
When the manager checked, the woman was not in the bathroom. My grandfather was about
must
to
have been
give
thick.
up
Why you
looking
kill
for her.
someone? Let me stop.
Then he
Let me stop.
remembered that during a conversation with the woman earlier, she'd mentioned that she worked at the bar that they were going to go to. So my grandfather decided to leave the theater, walked to the bar, smoked a cigarette, and looked around. He met the
Oh,
bartender,
he's flicking
asked
them
him
off.
about the woman, and the bartender said that he didn't know any women like that working there, and that he would ask the owner. After a few minutes, the owner approaches my grandfather, asks again, who was he looking for? My grandfather described the woman again, and suddenly, the owner's face changed. His expression became solemn, and he looked at my grandfather as if he were crazy. Then my grandfather showed him the ring that she had given him in the theater, and the owner looked
Excuse
shocked. Told my grandfather that it
Yeah, this is take 5. This is take 5. This is take 5.
couldn't be true. My grandfather asked what he meant by that, and the owner told him the woman had been murdered about a year ago. My grandfather was shocked, left the bar, and went
Why
home.
your grand?
This
why your
incident
granddad
stuck
telling
in
you
his
that?
memory.
What the hell?
He still thinks about it sometimes. Sometimes he doubts the situation, tells himself that the owner just thought of the wrong woman. But then he remembers the ring he showed the owner couldn't be another woman. He doesn't know if it was a spirit of some kind, a doppelganger, but all he knows is that the girl he met that night was not a normal human being.
Hey,
Also, the fact that she was unusually cold still makes him uneasy. He still thinks about what happened that night.
you was hugging a spirit. Your grandpa
Hi,
was
I'm
hugging a
Diane.
spirit. I got a goddamn ad. This is the worst time to get an ad because my phone's gonna stop recording. What the fuck?
And I live in the United States.
What's up,
This
Diane?
happened in Massachusetts and is one of the reasons I became a horror junkie. Because the paranormal seemed to follow me throughout my childhood.
I thought you were about to
Everything
say
I'm
something
about to
else.
say is the truth, exactly as I remember it. Most of my childhood is a blur, but this memory has never faded. I think we all struggle to recall much of when we were babies. It feels like an extended period of nothingness. But for me, there's one thing I remember with absolute clarity. When I was a baby, up until I was 2, my family lived in the basement of a stranger's house. We had almost nothing, just a mattress on the floor, 2 cabinets, and a few pieces of sparse furniture in a small, dusty room. My parents were immigrants, and we were just getting by. The details of that space are hazy now, but what happened at night is something I'll never forget. Every evening, my loving, protective parents would tuck my sister and I onto the mattress while they took the floor. The lights would go out, and one by one we would fall asleep. But in the middle of the night, I would wake up, and every time I saw them. big, white hands, like those of a mime reaching out from beneath the cabinet. The hands moved with deliberate motions, drawing shapes in the air, waving, beckoning. I remember staring, transfixed. Sometimes I would reach out, trying to touch them, but before I could, my mother would stir, pull me back, and lull me to sleep. This happened over and over. I remember those hands so vividly. They looked normal, but they weren't. And what disturbed me the most was that I never saw who or what they were attached to. When I was 2, we moved into a real home, leaving that basement for good. And somehow, the memories of the hands faded, buried under the warmth of a new life, until I turned 14 years old. That day, my older sister and I were reminiscing about our childhood, laughing about our old home, until she asked me,
"Did you ever see those hands?"
I froze. My stomach dropped.
"What hands?"
I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated before continuing.
"The hands that came from under the cabinet at night. The white ones, they would reach for us."
My heart pounded. I felt like I couldn't breathe. How did she see them too? I had spent years convincing
I thought she was the one
myself
who
they
pulled you
weren't
closer.
real,
I thought that was your
they
mom.
were just the overactive imagination of a child. But she saw them as well. We sat there, shaken, trading details. How they moved, how they looked,
Hey.
how we never saw a body
That looked like
attached
a
to
glove.
them. Was that basement haunted? Were those hands trying to take us? Later, I did some research and I found something chilling. Many people have reported seeing similar hands during childhood, but not white ones. Theirs were green or black.
Not me. The fuck?
This is a scary incident
Too
that
homely
happened
to
to me
us,
when I was a college student. I remember it was the day after Halloween. I was a freshman. You'll soon find out why I remember this. I remember waking up late in the morning, having to get up quickly to get to campus for my chemistry lab. My roommate was probably disturbed, as I kept making noise and rushing to head out. Since no buses would come at this time, I had no choice but to walk all the way to campus, which is like a 10 to 15 minute walk from my dorm.
That's good.
As I was walking on the street, it was quiet. There weren't that many students around, especially after a Halloween weekend. I'm not
like a
surprised.
monkey. I ain't going.
As I made my
Nigga, so
way
do you.
uphill, I suddenly saw a large, tall man wearing what looked to be a Scream Ghostface costume,
Oh, shit.
staring at an old homeless man that seemed to be curled up with his blanket on a bench. I was taken aback, since Halloween was over now, and now that classes have resumed, it's a bit odd seeing this man dressed up at such
just stared
early
at him.
time in the morning. At first, I didn't know what to make of it, knowing I had to hurry to my lab to be allowed inside, so I didn't pay much attention.
Should have mind your business.
However, something felt off as I passed by. This guy with this Scream Ghostface costume kept staring at me as I made my way closer to campus. I kept looking back, and he kept standing next to the homeless man, staring at me. That time felt very long. I felt uneasy that if I kept looking at him, he would come towards me, so I thought I should hurry to the lab. However, after walking a little, I suddenly felt this chill down my spine, and when I turned around, the homeless
He wasn't
man and the Ghostface man were gone. I was shocked. Could two people just
He's a
disappear
schizophrenic.
in such a short amount of time? Panicking, I ran towards campus, headed inside, afraid of this incident. What was even weirder is that after a couple of days later, the homeless man that's always sleeping on this bench never returned. A couple of students that I've talked to apparently said he was taken by the police for disturbing the peace, but I know that can't be true. Even so, my excitement towards Halloween has always been disturbed by this incident, even to this day.
What the fuck? Alright. I'm gonna keep it a buck, yo. It was hell recording this. It definitely was. This is like my 5th recording, right? Maybe my 6th. I'm not too sure. I freaking lost count. Both of these videos will be down below in the description if y'all want to check them out. But y'all already know what to do. If you like the video, like and subscribe. If you want to see more content just like this, like subscribe. If you hate the video, me included, like and subscribe. And I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm getting the freaking camera. I'm getting the camera.